Hey David, what's going on, bro?
Not much. How you doing?
Yeah, man, not too bad. Thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate it.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah, so how's the pandemic been treating you, man?
It's been going all right. We're making our way through it and having some success. So, yeah, yeah, it's all been pretty good.
Yeah, man, got to do what you got to do. So
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah, man. So how did you get started with your sprinting, your career?
Well, so my dad ran track and field, college, um, ran a little bit after college. My grandfather ran also, so
Mm,
I was kind of introduced very early on to the sport. Um, the first Olympics I remember watching were '86, or
hmm
sorry, were '96 in Atlanta, where Michael Johnson went out there and then did his thing,
mm,
and that was kind of what drew me to the sport of track and field. Loved it ever since,
yeah.
uh, and so that's how I really got started. Started running with my middle school team, and then did some track club after that, and after my eighth grade year, and kind of been running ever since.
Yeah, you kind of answered. I think you might have answered my next question. I was going to ask who's your sprinting idols, but you mentioned Michael Johnson, didn't you?
Yeah, yeah, that's really what I think in '96 during those Olympics when I got to see Michael Johnson running around the track and the gold shoes and the flashing lights and all that stuff.
Mm.
That was what drew me to the sport.
And was there any other sports which you might have considered when you was younger, like basketball? Was it always just track and field for you?
Yeah, my freshman year in high school, I played basketball. And in eighth grade, I did a little bit of football. But ultimately, track and field was the one thing that stuck, that I enjoyed and had a lot of fun doing. So,
Yeah, and what would you say? What's it like? So you mentioned a freshman and stuff. What is it like balancing your studies, being a student athlete? Is that tough at times? Would you say?
yeah, definitely can become tough. I think it was a lot harder in college. Once I got to
Mm,
university than it was in high school. High school, I was very involved with
yeah.
my sport. Obviously, trying to make sure I get good grades. I was big into music. I actually went to college to study music education, and so that was another big part of who I am and what I've always done. So trying to balance that degree
Mhm.
with the athletics was really a tough thing to do, but I made it through. So I
Yeah,
wasn't the
that's it,
best
man.
student, but I made it
That's
through.
that's it.
Yeah.
So with you and your 400, would you say you're a better bend runner than on the straight? Or
Oh, um, it's pretty even.
safe,
I
quite safe.
Yeah, I was a 100, 200 meter guy up until 12th grade, up until my last year of high school. And that's when I switched to running the 200, 400. And so my freshman year in college, um, I ran 45:05 in the four, but I ran 20.39 in the two. So, I've had success running the 200, and then ultimately, I
Yeah,
just had more consistency, and the 400 stuck.
yeah, that makes sense. So would you consider yourself as a sprinter? Would you consider yourself a powerful sprinter or more of like a technician? What would you
Oh,
say?
oh, wow, pretty even. I didn't really have a lot of attention to technique until really my first year as a professional. When I
Mm,
got with John Smith, my coach, that was one of the big things that we worked on and worked a lot on within my first year
yeah.
of being with him was working on technique and trying to make sure that I'm running posturally correct and my biomechanics are good. And, we had Dr. Ralph Mann, who works with our biomechanics here in USA Track and Field, come out and do video analysis and all those things. So, technique, once I really started getting involved in learning technique and a lot of those things, that is when I started paying more attention to the technique that's involved in things and began to see those things change over time and have some success while doing that.
hmm So yeah, when I was younger, when I was just playing football or soccer,
Mhm.
I was it was always just a hobby for me. I wasn't that serious. So when you started track and field, did it start as a hobby? or was you saying to yourself, oh, look, I'm gonna make this work? This is my
Definitely was a hobby. Definitely was a hobby.
yeah.
So I love to do. I had a lot of fun with it. I was serious about it, but thinking that like, oh, I'm going to be a track and field athlete when I get done with college. No, that wasn't something that was on my mind when I first started out. However, by my senior year of high school, I knew that I wanted to be a professional track and field athlete, that I wanted to be in the Olympics. And that was really what my plan and my goals were from that year. That was 6 years before Beijing Olympics. And that was what I was shooting for.
Yeah. So what's it, how does like your dietary plans kind of change in the off season to when you're competing? Does it change a lot? Yeah, you're eating a lot of junk food and stuff.
Well, as soon as the season was over, I would eat whatever I wanted to for like 2-3 weeks, and then I would feel horrible. So I'd go back to eating with a good diet. I had a great nutritionist while I was a professional athlete, who really got me on making sure that I was eating the proper things, that I was taking, I had my protein shakes and the different things that I needed to make sure that, I was recovering properly from my workouts, and eating, eating at the right times and eating the right type of foods, those sort of things. So those were all very much parts of what I did from really the time I started my training all the way through the whole season until the season was over, where I binged for a couple of weeks, and then I'd go back to what I needed to be doing to make sure that I was getting ready for the next season.
Yeah, it makes sense. So you, this is like I say, when I was back playing football, times I would get nervous. You ever nervous on the start line?
Always. Yeah. I think if you're not nervous, then you're not gonna put yourself in a position to hurt. And if you don't put yourself in a position where you feel some hurt and some pain, then you're probably not going to run fast. So I always knew that if I wanted to run fast, that it was going to hurt. And so that was why, I would always be nervous. It didn't matter how big or how small the meet was. I knew that I was going to go out there and give it my 100%. And if I gave it 100%, I was going to be in pain. So those brought out some nerves. I was never nervous from the standpoint of, these people I'm competing against, am I going to win? Am I going to lose? How well am I going to do? I was never concerned about that because I always knew that I was going to go out there and give it 110% every single time. But I knew that it was going to hurt to do so.
But adding back with that, I'm still talking on the nervousness. So what is it like if you have a meet and say you invite some of your close friends, your family? Is that adding to the nervousness, or does it make you feel better? Like, how does it?
Honestly, I don't pay any attention to that.
Yeah,
I'm so much in a zone that when I was competing, I never was paying attention to, who's in the stands or, who's watching me. It didn't matter if like I said, it was a big meet or small meet, my family was there or not. Because once I get there to the track, I'm so focused on what I need to do in order to run a successful race, that I block all that other stuff out. I can't hear the family or anybody while I'm running or racing. So I'm just doing me. And after the meet's over, after I've finished my races, then I go and hang out with the fam. So
that's it.
Yeah. And
do you believe in the term, as they say, fast track? And if so, where are the fast tracks?
Wow. Well, yes, I think that there are some tracks that happen to be faster, and it could be because of the way that the stadium is set up. Shanghai, I think they kind of give it like a term, like they have the wind of God at that track, because the wind kind of can come in and blow through the home stretch and give you a little help on the back stretch because of the way the stadium is built. Oregon has a fast track too, the surfaces. Now, I haven't been on the track since they've redone it up, the new stadium, but I'm sure it's going to be fast. They always produce fast times on that track. Obviously the track in Beijing was pretty nice. I got to race on it. So, I've been to a number of different places where I felt a little better. But sometimes it could just be the competition that you're competing against. It makes it fast, and people love that. So,
yeah. So would you say your success in the Pan American Games in 2007, Was that like, did that really help you in going into 2008? Would you say that momentum as such?
I mean, I think everything gives you a little bit of momentum, no matter, if you've depending on, no matter what the race or the meet is, or the competition. It was great to get a chance to get out there, to race at the Pan Am Games, and have success on the relay team, and do my thing there. But I was really focused on what I need to do to make the Olympic team, and then once I made the team, to get a medal. And so I think each step along the way was progress towards me having success at the top, and being able to make it to the top.
Yeah, man. I read the other day you was with your success at Beijing, you was the first from a university in like how much years? 40 odd years or something.
From my university, I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it was a while.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how long it was, but it definitely was a while. Because I remember looking at the different pictures and photos of those guys from before who had some success, and it had been quite a while since we had a medalist there. I just don't know how long.
And when you went back there, was it a big like royalty?
Yeah. They made me the Grand Master of the homecoming parade, and so I got honored and that sort of thing. Stand out on the American football field during college halftime. So that was kind of a big thing, and it felt good. It was a lot of fun, and I've always had a lot of honor for Indiana University, where I went.
So with 100-meter sprinters is what, like, I see a lot. Obviously, we have Bolt. Now you have Reese Prescott. Yeah, these are tall guys. Do you agree that, like, and those two especially, their starts are not the best? So would you agree that as a big guy, it's tricky to get a good start when you're that tall?
It is harder. It's harder. I mean, you've got longer limbs, and you got to get those things moving in the right direction. And if you're a shorter guy, it's easier to get that power moving quick. Bigger, longer muscles, they gotta go further distance to get where they need to get. So I think it is harder. Some people, you keep working on that craft till you get it, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. I was never a great starter. I was okay, but I was never a great starter when I was competing. And guys like that, they're figuring out how to get it done, and their coaches are really working hard to help those athletes, progress. And obviously Bolt did decent, but he was rarely ever the first dude to 30 meters, right?
Yeah, that's it.
So being tall and long, it just takes a little bit more work, but you got to have patience, and if everything's lined up in the right direction, you can run fast.
Was there any other sprint events you considered, or was it just the 400? Didn't fancy the 200?
Yeah, I love the 2. Actually, the 2 was my favorite event. I just wasn't as good consistently at it. So, like I said, I had success in high school in the 200. I had success in college in the 200. But the 400, I think I had more success and was able to compete in that event on on an international level a little bit easier. Whenever I had opportunities, I only ran a couple 200s a year. I would normally open up my season outdoors with the 200, maybe go to one of the islands early on and run a 200, and maybe run a 200 once during the European circuit. So it really depended on where I wanted to get those races in, depending on what my coach's training plan was for me for that year, so that I could be ready to hopefully drop a fast 400 when it was time.
You didn't fancy any field events? No,
actually, I was a long jumper in high school also. So up until my freshman, sophomore, and junior year, I was 100, 200 long jump. And I could never really I couldn't get it. I couldn't get it down. And so it would also be really hard to train for the 2-4 and a long jump when I finally switched to the 400. So I kind of left the long jump alone at that point.
Yeah. Like in your time, in your peak, you had like so many guys. You had Andrew Rock, Otis Harris, Warren, Merritt. What's it like just having, like, in America, having so much talented 400-meter runners? And is that
It's
bad? Is that bad for you?
it's tough. Yeah, I mean, it was always a battle. It was always a battle. But that's what we as athletes live for. We want to make sure that we are being challenged and pushed. I think it's much better to have other guys around that are being successful in the same event than to be the only dude out here running and running well. And so every time I stepped on the track for our national championships, I knew, hey, I'm gonna have to go out here and run fast. And it always helped me to go out there and run fast. At our Olympic trials, that's where I PR'd. That's where my best time ever. It was ran. And it's because I was running against LaShawn Merritt and Jeremy Warner in the finals. So, I got to run fast if I want to make this team. And so it was always a tough thing, but it was great. Just like, the American women for a long time, they were rolling in the hurdles, short hurdles. Just American women, you couldn't get by unless you were running 12.5. I think around the time when I was running, it was also the American men's high hurdlers. They were just been rolling, and there was nobody that could beat them. And so that was I think matter of fact, I think in 2008 the men American hurlers swept the 110 hurdle. Everything. We swept the 4, but they also swept the hurdles, right?
And then
crazy. It's crazy, right? So I think that level of competition here in the United States always prepares you for when you get out there and run against the rest of the world.
Yeah, definitely. And would you agree? We're talking about Merritt and Warner. Would you agree? You're saying to yourself, if I battle them, then I've got like a chance of getting a medal, sort of thing.
Well, I always think, regardless of who I battle, that I had a chance of getting the medal, right? Yeah. But you always know, hey, you're gonna have to go against these guys, and every single day it's preparation to go out there and try to beat them. Right. In practice, you're thinking about what do I need to do to win? And how fast do I need to run to win? And so I'm going to train that way, regardless of who it is. But, competing against those guys, that's the golden age of American 400 track and field right there.
Golden age. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm glad you know that. Yeah, so a few days ago, don't know how I found this footage, but I was watching your heat in the American trials for 2008, and you came third in that race. You you got pipped on the line, sort of thing. You was in second, and then someone come on the outside of you. So would you say that the endurance was something you had to improve on, or was that just a bad race, sort of?
Well, definitely that definitely was an endurance thing that I needed to improve on. I'm more of a speed power based 400-meter runner. So I'm about quick. Like I told you, I was a 100-200 guy, and I hadn't switched to my senior year. So I love sticking with the speed. Like if coach was giving me 150s at practice, I was excited. I was ready to go. Tell me I got 450s. I don't want to hear it. Right. I still had to do them, but so strength was probably always my weakness throughout my whole career. And I had to try to execute off of, what I knew I had the strength in, and that was speed. So I'm going to get out. I'll try to run that first 350, all out, and then just hold on for dear life.
Yeah. So would you say Warner was the toughest competitor?
I would say definitely in terms of the longevity. Yeah. I had been racing Jeremy Warner since my senior year in high school. Golden West meet out in Sacramento, and saw him in college, and then saw him, my whole pro career. So he definitely had that, and then obviously there was a changeover with LaShawn Merritt, those last few years. But Jeremy Warner, for as long as I can remember, he was always there, and he was always killing the game, and I had a lot of success with it. So I think both those guys, Jeremy and LaShawn, both were very tough competitors. But for me, I think knowing Jeremy Warner for quite some time and having to compete against him year in and year out, he was always a tough competitor.
And would you say in still on the Olympics in 2008, you got past your heat quite comfortably.
Mhm.
Are you preparing for the semi-finals, or are you watching other heats? That's what I wanted to.
Oh no, I'm preparing. I'm not paying attention to what anybody else is doing. Like once I finish my race and I know I'm in, I'm good to go. And I'm getting ready for the next round of competition.
Yeah, that's interesting because I don't know, maybe the semi-finals is different, but other people I've chatted to, they say they always watch the competition.
Yeah.
So
No, man, I try to stay away from it as much as
yeah,
possible. Like
yeah.
depending on what race I am, right? So if I'm the first heat, I'm running, and then as soon as I'm done, I'm done. But if I'm later on in the game, then I'll obviously see what my competitors in front of me just did, and so I'll know how fast I need to run. If there's an advancement on time, if it's just advancement on place, then I'm going out there and I'm running to get my place.
Mm. So that's funny you mentioned places. So are you ever to say like you get your place, you come to the top two, you get through? Is it ever a part of you which is gutted about your time, or are you're just as you just said, your place, you got through, that's it?
No, it's normally just focusing on did I do the job and get through. Now, obviously, I ended up in lane 8, or I think it was 9 on that track, but I was all the way in the outside spot in the finals at Beijing, and so that was due to I still had the I got in on the qualifying spot, but my time wasn't as fast, and so that putting me out and getting the last spot in. Nobody wants to. Well, typically people don't want to be out there in lane 8, but shoot, the world record was run out of lane 8, right? So, so, and my PR is out of lane 8. I won the bronze out of lane 8. The world record has been run out of lane 8. So it can be done. I think you tend to run scared, which makes you run a little better. In my opinion, and you have to run your race, and you can't be so concerned with who's moving where and who's gone out blazing fast and this, that, and the other, who's going slow or running off of somebody else. So the time that you run can definitely play a factor, and has at time in my career played a factor. But ultimately, I'm just trying to make sure that I do my job and get in.
So as you just mentioned, Van Niekerk got the world record in lane 8. So, and I've spoken to people and they've said that he played to get. Are you agreeing that some athletes try and get lanes, like they purposely finish in this place, they can get that lane, or do you agree?
Well, it's different because right because when you look at it, I can't remember how fast he ran in his prelim. He didn't have to run that fast to get in out of his heat. So he would have done. I think he would have done what he needed to do to get into the finals, right? And then let the chips fall where they fall, right? He got an automatic qualifying spot, and so you know I feel that he went out there and just did what he needed to do to get in. I don't necessarily know if he's like I'm trying to run slow enough to get lane 8, but he's like, hey, I got to get one of these 2 qualifying spots, auto qualifying spots, and so I'm going to do that.
Yep. Back to Beijing. In your semi, you ran like a 44.91. So after that, was you saying to yourself, I'm gonna have to run faster if I wanna medal?
Definitely, I knew that on paper coming into the whole competition, I wasn't slated to medal. Like, I wasn't one of the top 4 or 5 guys in the nation at that point, or in the world at that point. So, going in there, I knew like I'm going to have to run faster, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to give it everything I possibly have. Everybody has gone out here and run, and it really a lot of it comes to how can you handle the round, right?
Yeah.
Are you expending all your energy up front? Can you make it through? Can you handle the pressure? There's a lot more things that go into it than just have I ran the fastest time so far this year. Other guys ran 40, 44.5 and 44.4 that year. I'd only ran 44.6 at our trials, but I know that if I can go through the rigors of what it takes to win our national or to be top 3 at our Olympic trials, then I can go through the rigors of what it takes to be top 3 at the Olympic Games.
Yeah, so just not being at the top of the rankings, would you say, was you a bit of an outsider in that final, touching medal?
Yeah, I definitely was. I felt like I was, but I knew that my goal was to come out here, win a medal, and I needed to do everything I possibly could to do that.
So talk to me about that famous, not infamous, famous slip.
Yeah, the finish, right? So I'm out there in 8, and Chris Brown's running up on me, and I believe at a little point he actually kind of passes me, and I'm just trying to dig in and fight these last 50 meters. For me, I was just trying to dive, to lean as hard as I possibly could at the line, and so when I did that, obviously it turns into what people call the dive. I'm not trying to dive. I'm just trying to actually brace my fall because I leaned so hard. My feet were out from underneath me, so I just put my arms out and it looks like I'm diving, flying across the finish line. So really, it was just about sacrifice, giving everything that I had. I talked to you a little bit earlier, and I said I knew everything was always going to hurt because I was going to go out there and give it everything I had. And so I went out there and gave it everything I had. Put my body on the line. I was bruised. It hurt. That shower burned. I had some track burn. That shower burned that night. But hey, I got a bronze medal out of it, right? So make those sacrifices for what you want.
And did you think you had second when you crossed, or
I had no idea. Well, I didn't think that I was able to get Jeremy for that second spot, but I had no idea if I had gotten Chris Brown or not. I had no idea at all. So I was just laying there, and then I was looking at the clock, waiting to find out, what the time was, because it felt like it took 10 minutes for them to put the time up on the board.
Yeah, and Merritt ran like a 43.7. He won that race by like almost a whole second. So would you say it was just him being that good on that particular season?
He was great. I mean, and not just that season. He had other years where he was doing great as well. He was on, and I think that even ever since then, I would say the year before that, I think Jeremy went 43.4 at Stockholm. And so after that, I think there happened to be a lot more people starting to run 43. And everyone's like, hey, we know we can do it. It's not something that hasn't been done on a regular since Michael Johnson. He was doing it on a regular, but until Jeremy really started rocking the 43s, people weren't doing it as regularly, right? And now everyone's knocking down these 43s, and at the collegiate level here, you've got in college a bunch of people running 45 lows on the indoor track. Who knows what's going to happen outdoor? You're going to start seeing a whole lot more 43s potentially at the collegiate level now. So, LaShawn was on that year. He was ready to rock and roll and had a lot of success.
Yeah, man. He was the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of touched on this already about you running a 44.9 in the final, and you actually ran a 44.6. No, 44.9 in the semi and 44.6 in the final. And I was talking with who was I talking? I was talking with Anika, Honora, Andy Turner about this, and they said how like happens a lot of times people usually run faster in the semis than they do in the final because they're trying to get to the final. But
right,
you lot run faster, so is that you lot just the Americans being too good?
Hey, we just it's an understanding of the way that we train, and one of the things that my coach would do within practice, we'd have days where we would go back to back with our training. We train Monday, Tuesday, we take Wednesday off for recovery, train Thursday, Friday, and a lot of what we would do is try to be able to emulate that trial final, right? being able to say, all right, I can go out here and I can run, but then I can come back the very next day and run even better than I did the day before, right? So you want to be able to do that. You want to be able to do what you need to do to get through to the final, but then be able to go and then just drop a bomb in the final. A lot of people can't do that. A lot of people don't train that way. And but that's where the success on the international level and the national level comes from here in America. You know, being able to go back-to-back days. And if you can't do it, you're not going to have a lot of success in the finals.
Yep. And that 2008, that clean sweep you got was the fourth in a row for America in the 400 meters. So what was that like, being on the podium with your teammates? Must be special.
Yeah, it was awesome. You know, I mean, there was a great group of guys, and so getting a chance to be able to stand up there, and fortunately, with us sweeping that bad boy, I got to hear the national anthem, even though it wasn't because I won, right? But we swept the event, and we got to hear our national anthem and be recognized. So it's definitely an awesome feeling.
Yeah, that final, like you mentioned, Chris Brown. You had Martin Rooney in that final, who I spoke to not too long ago. And after that race, he achieved a lot. He got 2 European golds. So was you aware of him in 2008? And did you see in the final how he would see success?
Oh yeah, I knew all about Martin. You know, I had talked to him while on the circuit quite a bit, so I knew exactly who he was and knew how good he was. And I think he's still out there doing some running now. It's crazy, but but you know, he is a great guy. And I knew I was going to have to run and run well, and you know, everything lined up for me that year.
Yeah. So have you got that picture in your house of you falling?
I don't have it up, but I see it quite often, you know, online and those sort of things. I don't have it posted up anywhere, but you know, I am reminded of it quite often by other people, and you know, I think one of my family members had a shirt printed with it on there. So, yeah.
So, Olympic gold and Olympic bronze. Would you say? The question is, are you happy? Are you happy with your career?
I am. I had a lot of success. You know, I think there are times where I wish it would have been a little longer, had to end early because of some injuries, but you know, made it through, and you know, not too many people can say that they have an Olympic medal, and 2 at that, you know, for the relay as well. So, you know, very happy with the success I had, and now as a coach, you know, just working to help other people, other athletes, hopefully get the same place I was at.
And yeah, there's a lot of athletes that win relay medals. But what I wanted to ask, would you have felt a little gutted if you didn't win an individual medal? Say if you just did a relay and you didn't win an individual senior medal.
Yeah, I definitely would have. You know, winning a medal my goal when I got to the Olympics was to win a medal. And so definitely was something that I was wanting to do, that I had my goals set on. You know, my first goal was to make the team. And then after I made the team, we set new goals. And the new goal was medal. And so that was exactly what I came to the Olympics to do. I didn't just want to be there. You know, I didn't just want to have the experience. I wanted to medal, and I wanted to medal on the individual race. And that's what I did.
Yeah. So obviously the first goal was to actually make the team. So is it like an overachievement, or is it just you reach your goal and that's it?
No, it definitely wasn't an overachievement. I mean, obviously, I want to win every time I step on the track, right? So getting a medal, you know, and getting the bronze was, you know, I achieved my goal, I achieved my dream of being a medalist at the Olympics, and so, you know, pushing forward and pushing through to do that. I don't see it as an overachievement of any sort. It was exactly what I wanted and what I got.
Yeah. So you actually got another bronze in that. What do they call it? The World Final, 2009.
Yes. Well, I was in the relay pool, so I actually didn't run in the race.
Yeah. So it ran from 2003 to 2009. Do you actually know why that stops the World Finals?
I yes, right. You're talking about the World Athletic
Yeah,
Finals. I have
yeah,
no idea why they got rid of that. Yeah, we
yeah,
were in Thessaloniki when I ran that race. Yeah, that was fun because that's where Carmelita Jetta ran 10:69, and that meet was a lot of fun. Yeah, I have no idea why they stopped the competition. I think that was
yeah.
kind of when the Diamond League faded out or faded in, right? And they started getting rid of Golden League, Golden Spike Tour, and all that stuff.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that like it must have been special that like you kind of medaled. You medaled on the last one.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that must be a nice touch. Anyway,
Yeah,
uh,
definitely was.
so what's it like being part of a relay team?
It's lots of fun. I mean, there's not as much pressure, right? I know I don't have to do it myself, but you want to go out there and run fast. And I think that as part of that relay team, I think somewhere in the back of our heads, we were all like, man, it'd be nice to go out here and break the world record. Didn't quite get it. Got the Olympic record. But, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun being able to get out there with other guys. We swept the relay. And then we had swept the individual, and then we had Angelo Taylor, who had just won gold in the 400 hurdles on there as well. So we knew we were going to run fast. It was just a matter of how fast we were going to run.
And would you say there's ever any arguments of stuff because you might David wants to be on the last leg and stuff?
No, the coaches told us where we were. The relay coaches told us what legs we were running. In the prelims, I ran leadoff leg, and then in the finals, I ran third leg. So, I think that it was good placement. They placed them all of us in good spots, and we all ran fast. So, yeah,
that's it. No, it's funny you mentioned coaches because I was going to ask. Would that ever be based on like your individual running of where you go in the legs, or is it just?
Yeah, I think so, but also off of past experience. Getting opportunities to run at pin relays and meets like that. They're able to see us and how we perform on certain legs. There are times at pin relays where I had to run lead off leg for Team USA. There are times when I ran third leg there, so it really depended on what they felt, and those were the same relay coaches that we had for the Olympics. So they knew what was the best spots for us to run in and put us there.
And what was that final like? Because you won by like nearly 3 seconds, like 2:55 or something.
It was fun. It was fun, right? We never had pressure. There was never anybody up on us. It was just go out there and run fast. We had clean open air and had success. Won the gold, and so it was a party.
Yeah. And when I just want to touch on the difference between the 4x1 and the 4x4, because obviously, what I was saying, I was talking to my friend the other day, and I said the 4x4 is a great race, but in some way, I think it's less exciting than the 4x1. For example, you could be in the second leg, and you could be nearly like a whole lap in front of someone. So don't you agree that the race could kind of be over by the second leg, whereas with the 4x1, you can.
It depends how good the team is, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's not good, right? Because the 4x1, yes, is exciting, but if you got a 4x4 race with a bunch of lead changes and people can keep up, then it becomes even more exciting in the 4x4. So I think it, there's always the room for error in the 4x1 is so small.
Yeah.
When it comes to the 4x4, it can be crazy exciting too, depending on how close people are and who's running what legs. So in that year, I mean, we're dominating in even the open events of the 400 and 400 hurdles. So it'd be hard pressed for any other country really to handle that kind of pressure from what we were able to put out there on the track. But any other year it could change. USA continue to push out 400-meter runners left and right, and other countries haven't done it as much. And in terms of the depth, that USA has produced in those events.
And you see, still talking on the relays, obviously with the 4x1, you see them with the changeovers and they just start running, they put their hand up. But obviously with the 4x4, so you have time to kind of. So would you advise the younger 400-meter runners to kind of turn around and take the baton and stuff? Because that's the one difference I see.
Definitely in the 4x4, you don't want a blind exchange. You might get out too hard, and then if you don't turn around, well then you're gonna have exchange zone issues, right? So you got to turn around and take the baton and be able to see it.
And what's it like having an Olympic record?
It's awesome. I mean, my name right now, at least right now, is still in the record books. Who knows, that might change. We've got some great, at least the U.S. has some great 400-meter runners that are up and coming. So, I think records are made to be broken, but at least for right now, I'm in the record book. So I'll hold on to that one.
That's it. And so would you say, because obviously, did you compete after that? Where else did you compete in any top world champs? You got to any world champs?
Did not get to any world champs. So had obviously 2009 was a good year, and then I started getting some Achilles tendonitis issues in 2010. So didn't have as much success moving forward after that. So it was that was a little tough. But injuries come with being a professional athlete a lot of times. Some people are able to work through those things, and so I just wasn't able to kind of break through and get rid of the Achilles issues, and so that kind of plagued me up until 2012, where I finally had my last race.
Yeah, and what's it like just having all these injuries through your mind? Is it just
Yeah, you battle with it, and so there's always the questions of, well, is it time to end this thing, hang up the spikes and move on? But you love the sport and you want to stick in and stick through. So that was something that was always a challenge for me. Kind of questioning: do I stay with this? Do I leave? Do I move on with my life? Ultimately after 2 years of doing that, from 2012 to 2014, I finally was like, all right, it's time to move on.
And was there like a particular race where you thought, nah, this is it now? Or was it, like you said, it's on your mind and then it's just...
Yeah, it really was my mind, because in 2012, I ran at the Olympic trials, for London Olympic trials. I couldn't make it out the first round because I was dealing with tendonitis in both my Achilles. I had bursitis in my right heel, and then I had quadricep tendonitis, all at the same meet, the same year. So I was a mess. Like I said, I couldn't make it out the first round of our trials. And about a week or two later, I had PRP treatment on my knee, and then tried to come back about December, started training again. And some things started flaring up with my knee again, some issues there, couldn't break through with it. And then I kind of shut it down for the year and was like, well, you know what? I'll just try to let myself heal up, come back next year. Came back the next year, started training pretty decent. And then the Achilles tendonitis issues just kept popping back up. I go in the pool for about a month, come out of the pool, get back on the track, feel great. Achilles tendonitis flare up again. And then so about March of 2014, I was like, all right, it's not working. It's time to move on. And so that's when I knew. I just knew, because I couldn't get through the injuries, and I had to start working on the next portion of my life. I had my wife, to make sure that I was supporting her, and then I had just had a daughter, so I had a family to make sure that I was caring for, and so track and field wasn't working at that point, and wasn't paying any bills either. So that was when I kind of knew that it was time to go to the next thing.
And when you was running in your prime, was you ever watching the races back? Like, do you watch races back?
Sometimes. I would always watch my races back to kind of see what I had done, what I might have done right or wrong, so that I could work on those things for the next time.
And are you watching your losses as much as your wins?
Oh yeah, I didn't win much. I did not win much as a pro. I had a couple races here or there that I won, but it was there was never. I would never say that that I looked at something and was like, man, I lost that race. It was always an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to learn from my mistakes in my race and learn from what I did well in each race, and so that I could work on perfecting those things or work on getting what I might have messed up on, figure it out and fix it.
Yeah, so right now, obviously, we still got Merritt, Karani, James, Van Niekerk. Like, have you got like a favorite right now, or who do you think's gonna dominate?
I don't know. I love Van Niekerk, man. Since shoot, 2 years before he broke the world record, I've been kind of following what he was doing, like what I was seeing, like his energy, like how he runs, and I was excited when he broke that world record, like that. Hey man, this guy, he's really doing a great job, and so I hope he gets back to where he was at before. I'm rooting for him to get back in the mix there, and like to see. I would love to see someone go under 43 seconds in that 400. So thought he was going to do it. Heart was beaten at the in Rio, and he almost got it. So I love to see him get back there.
And how's coaching? 'Cause I know you do coaching.
Yeah, coaching is going great. I'm here at the University of Tennessee. We're having a lot of success. We've got some great 400-meter runners here, which is obviously my event. So we're doing some awesome things there right now. Our 4x4 has the world lead this indoor season. So we've got our indoor nationals next week. Hope to go there and have some magic happen there. But overall, our whole team is doing great. We've got our women's 4x4 going. We've got another short sprinter, Joella Lloyd, going in the 60-meter dash. And then we've got some throwers and jumpers and DMR. So we're having some good success here this year. We're looking to carry that on to the outdoor season and then get hopefully some Olympians in Tokyo. Fingers crossed that everything happens still this summer. So, yeah.
So would you say last summer with this pandemic, with the Olympics being called up, is that a blessing? That blessing in the skies for you and your athletes that you can train more to be ready for this summer, or were they ready last summer and it's a bit of a
I think that another year always helps. With growth, all of our kids are young, so nobody's like trying to hold on to the end of their career on our side here. So we're excited. I don't necessarily know if it was a blessing or a curse. Either way, it's we've gone out here, we've done what we need to do last year. This year we're doing the same thing. Get people ready. People are ready to rock and roll, and so we're just gonna continue with our plan and hope that we have some success this summer.
It's good stuff. So what would be the one piece of advice you'd give to a young 400-meter runner?
Wow. Every day you've got to train like you want what you set out to do or to get, right? So for me, one of the things that I was big on was making sure that I set my goals and that everything that I did was preparation for those goals that I set. So 6 years prior to Beijing Olympics, my goal was make the Olympic team. I made the Olympic team, the same one that I said that I was going for. And my next goal was medal at the Olympics, right? So I had a goal, and then everything that I did along the way was preparation to reach that goal. And so I think that's the big key, right? If you know what you want to achieve, then you're going to work hard to get it, and you're going to set yourself up for success. And if you don't have goals, you don't have plans or things that you desire to reach and achieve, you're going to kind of just be wandering around. You can't just say you want to run fast. That doesn't mean anything. Running fast, everyone wants to run fast, but you've got to have specific goals, lay them out, write them down, and work towards reaching them.
Yeah, that's it. Makes sense. Hey, David, it's been great, man. Thanks for coming on, bro. Appreciate it, man.
Definitely. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, man. We'll do it again soon, man. when you're not
All
coaching.
right. All right. Sounds good.